Okay, so here it is, December 21st, a few days before Christmas. Maybe this is appropriate since it's going to be talking about Buddha's Four Immeasurables. I brought this up yesterday in my video, and I don't think I communicated it properly or well enough. It basically is describing joy, love for all. And I should say that I have most of my study or reading is Vedanta Hinduism, Lord Ramakrishna, Shankara, Vivekananda. But Buddha is immensely powerful, and this is going to be on the Four Immeasurables. And I wish I knew a broader viewpoint of it, but this is going to be from some Buddhist websites, and I know it's accurate. And I'm just going to communicate what it means to me, how I apply it. And, I also wanted to say that I finally understand why I'm doing these videos, and it really is pretty simple. I feel compelled to do it. I think it's beautiful concepts from India, Hinduism and Buddhism mostly. But it's also just me modernizing life in that I'm an old guy. I'm 70 years old, and I tend to just write down notes or put it on a WordPerfect file. And I realize that by doing a video, it's more likely to be, it's better memorialized if anybody wants to see these. If I just talked to my son, he said they're great. And I'm so glad they're there forever. But having it on notes or a WordPerfect file is just not the same. So now I can kind of chatter about what these things mean to me. And I think it gives them more, it modernizes it. And that's really what's happening. And I remember reading the Four Immeasurables early on, and it was just such a powerful, it's just everything. And I meditate on the Four Immeasurables. And so that's the other reason I'm bringing this up, is that now I'm kind of communicating what a lot of my points of meditation are. And yesterday I brought up dealing with difficult people and the power of caringness and love. Well, this is going to apply. And the video before was all you need is love, which of course this applies. So this is going to get pretty direct. So this also aligns to what we were talking about yesterday. The more you become, that you realize, whether you call it God or consciousness, but the interdependence, how everything is interrelated and interdependent, the more your life will change and become more joyful. And so that gets right into, I looked up the Four Immeasurables, and there is a description on a Buddhist website, and I'll just read it. All life is interdependent, therefore the happiness of one individual depends upon that of others. Boy, that's key. We can never make it all on our own. We have to recognize this interdependence, God, the interdependence of all consciousness. But here it is. The Buddha taught the Four Immeasurables: loving kindness, compassion. They call it here appreciative joy and equanimity. There's going to be another words for that, which I'll use in the next little slide or whatever you call this. The Buddha taught the Four Immeasurables: loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity, in order to remove ill will, cruelty, jealousy, and clinging and aversion. So that was their pure description. Now, I read something else on Buddhism that I thought was also immensely powerful, and it said, when there is no hate left inside, no ill will left, you can achieve enlightenment. I guess, I'm sure there's other aspects. I'm just saying I remember reading those 2 points, and I think they're incredibly powerful. Now, there is another great website if you ever want to view these things, and it was called aviewonbuddhism.org. And in that, it actually defined these 4 points: loving kindness, compassion, joy, equanimity. So I'm going to pull those up because I meditate on these points all the time. And boy, I got a long ways to go, I think. I can get so much better. Like I said in the last video, this reminds me of the 60s and 70s, but I'm hoping this provides application, how one can actually apply these points instead of just running around and thinking about it. Yeah, you can just keep meditating on these points. They're immensely, immensely powerful. So these are the 4 immeasurables per this particular website, and he defines it. Now, yesterday I mentioned that there's 4 immeasurables and they all define love, and maybe they do. But this is interesting because here it says love in Buddhism is wanting others to be happy. Now, this is really a powerful note here. If you meditate, how about I challenge anybody to try this, but just sit there and let everything flow for a while, and then actually meditate on others being happy. Maybe you start on yourself being happy, you meditate on your family being happy, meditate on your best friends being happy, but let that grow and grow and grow and see how you feel. I remember Vivekananda said, if you want to create bigger space and just a cloud of joy, meditate on love. Well, there's a definition right there. Others being happy. And if you think about that, if you think about the bigger picture, meditating on God or consciousness, well, if you're meditating on others being happy, you will be happy. You will feel love. So, isn't that interesting? So love and happiness and how they're all interconnected. Meditate on that. There was another interesting little, I think it was a Buddhist comment too, and it said that this one particular great Swami said he finally realized that until everybody had made it, we all individually can't make it. Put that into that whole idea of interdependence and the bigness of life and consciousness and God. But that's a great one. Love in Buddhism is wanting others to be happy. Wow, that's a great one. Meditate on that. I have great joy when I think about my sons being born and the great joy that Lynn and I had. When I have despair, I meditate on that. The second immeasurable is compassion, is wanting others to be free from suffering. I think I brought that up yesterday when I was describing these people in the political world that are just attacking others and basically being hateful. And it's hard for me sometimes to want them to be free from suffering, but that's easier than, actually that's not hard at all. I know that when they're attacking others and wanting ill will, that they are suffering. And I can want them to be free from suffering. And it helps bring an interdependence, and it helps me, I guess, now that I think about it, get rid of any ill will I have for them. That doesn't mean I'm going to be wanting them to come over to my house for dinner. As the last video talked about, sometimes I have to hiss, and sometimes as a householder I have to realize that there is evil in the world on that level. But a lot of times when I'm meditating, compassion can bring a change, I guess is a good way to put it. And it can help me get rid of ill will. So that's a great one. The third definition, or the third immeasurable, is sympathetic joy. I guess the other one had a different word for it. But this is great. This is really great. It's being happy when someone's fortune, with someone's fortune and happiness. Sympathetic joy here refers to the potential of bliss and happiness of all sentient beings, as they can all become Buddhas. What an incredible statement. Sympathetic joy. So the way I apply that, and I actually read this once, is kind of like love is wanting others to be happy. In the same way, you want meditate on others feeling joy. Meditate on others doing well, being successful, and actually feeling great joy for that, because their joy is your joy. That's that interdependence. It's the connection that we all have. And I must admit, when I was young, I had a lot of envious feelings. And so getting rid of, like in the compassion, getting rid of feeling of ill will, getting rid of envy, well, try having sympathetic joy for others. And if you meditate on that, just like happiness, putting out, wanting others to feel happy, wanting others to feel successful or joy for their, having people meditate on when people have the birth of their children. I mean, that's always joy. Empathetic happiness, empathetic joy. And then you're going to feel it. What a great meditation. I can't tell you how many times I've done this, and especially when I'm feeling, I don't know, it's just a great meditation. And then I brought up in the last video equanimity. And equanimity in Buddhism means to have a clear-minded, tranquil state of mind. So you can always meditate on that. Not being overpowered by delusions, mental dullness, or agitation. Boy, I still get agitated when things are kind of blowing up around me. Just the other day, my refrigerator broke, and I try to then, maybe a little bit later, I'll go and try to meditate on these four immeasurables, but there's a perfect example. I think I'm getting better. I guess I can't judge that. I'll let others judge that. But I believe if you meditate specifically on these 4 points, your life will change. Absolutely change. Yeah, I actually have a goal of equanimity. I believe that's one of the grand goals of life. I think I defined it yesterday in the video as being able to sit in the middle of a hurricane and not be bothered. And if you think about it, if you're totally in the now, remember the old book in the 60s, Be Here Now. I don't even know what that said, but if somebody is totally now and nothing in a delusion fashion is adding to the agitation, you should be able to feel pretty good. So I'm not really sure. I'm still working on the application of meditation on that, but I'll tell you, these other ones are pretty easy. He tells you right there, in essence, what to meditate on. Meditate on wanting others to be happy. That's one of the definitions, I'll say. I know it says in this website, Buddha's definition of love is wanting others to be happy. Well, if you think about love as a oneness, if you're wanting others to be happy, if you're having compassion for others, or you want others to have joy, that's a pretty good definition of love. And love is a oneness. It's an affinity. Just continue to look at that. I can only imagine how far that can go. So, I don't know why this one didn't come up as one of my first videos. Maybe that's all you need. Maybe that is it right there. And maybe that's the power of Lord Buddha. Maybe that's why so much of, I don't know if it's in the world, haven't been around, but I know in the U.S., this is a pretty powerful message. And by the way, that's, I believe, the message of Lord Jesus. So these, well, and Lord Ramakrishna. So let's just take it at that. I hope this helps everybody if they happen to listen to this. Powerful message. Okay, thank you.